Welcome to episode number 243 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on YouTube on October 5, 2018, with a ton of things to talk about this week, including Serena Sings, hashtag defy the name, choose your mirror, Instacodes, big dysfunction, IMDb TV, hashtag upside down, pixel groups, BrainNet, Facebook's hacked logins, DeepFakes, pass on MoviePass, and much, much more. BL kicks it off with the best story of the week as per usual. BL, what was that?
Well, this is really quite extraordinary. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so to remind people of the importance of regular breast self-exams, Serena Williams teamed up with Think I Would Die If You Were to Ignore Me. She sings, Think I Would Die If You Were to Ignore Me, while staring straight into the camera and covering her breasts with both hands. And she's doing that to emphasize the importance of early detection when it comes to breast cancer. On her Instagram page, where the video has had more than 3 million views, she wrote, "Yes, this put me out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to do it because it's an issue that affects all women of all colors all around the world. Early detection is key. It saves so many lives. I just hope this helps to remind women of that." What this comes from is in 2014, a group of artists, including the breast cancer survivor, Olivia Newton-John, recorded a version of the song in Amphlet's honor as an anthem for breast health. The I Touch Myself project is a rendition of the 1990 song by the Australian rock band The Divinals, and Christina Amphlett was the band's frontwoman, and unfortunately she died in 2013 after battling breast cancer and multiple sclerosis. According to Cancer Research UK, more than 90% of women who are diagnosed at the earliest stage of breast cancer survive the disease for at least 5 years, compared to only about 15% of women who are diagnosed at the most advanced stages. Breast Cancer Awareness Month lasts the whole month of October, and we'll put a link in the show notes on how to conduct a breast self-exam, and also to Serena's song, which is very sweet.
Very nice. And a great PSA campaign.
And she doesn't have a bad voice either.
Exactly. Another, who would have thought? Another.
There's nothing she can't do. That's what we think.
There's another great PSA campaign. This is covered by Adweek's David Greiner. Hashtag Defy the Name. This is a campaign by Monica Lewinsky and BBDO New York, who are aiming with the campaign to turn the tables on bullies by embracing and disarming their insults. Because what do bullies do? Aside from threaten, they also insult. So the launch spot for the campaign features a wide range of celebrities who have been mocked as children or even adults, and it contrasts visuals with the visuals of their success with the insults they received as children. Some of the celebrities include Lena, the whining fat girl Dunham, the skinny piece of crap Tony Hawk, John dumb bitch loser Oliver, Sarah the weirdo Silverman, and super dweeb Questlove. So those are all of the celebrities featured in it, along with the insults that they suffered from bullies. The campaign is timed to correspond with National Bullying Prevention Month, supported by a bunch of organizations. Lewinsky has changed her Twitter handle to display her name as Monica Chunky Slut Stalker That Woman Lewinsky, which is a reference to several of the insults that were aimed at her since her affair with Bill Clinton came to light in the 90s. So the campaign uses the hashtag defy the name, and encourages people to change their Twitter handles to the names that they were bullied with when they were children. I don't know how many people are going to do that, but we'll see.
Well, some of the famous people will do it because they have less to lose than the rest of us, you know. But that's a wonderful campaign, actually. I mean, there have been some really extraordinary campaigns to combat bullying, and it still goes on. So I think ever since I was maybe in high school, people have been talking about interactive TV, and probably before that, like someday it was going to be like that, and it's here. So Netflix of all, certainly not network TV. This is from an Ad Age and Bloomberg News story. And Netflix viewers are going to get to choose your own storyline in one episode of the 5th season of Black Mirror, which is one of my favorite shows. The show's famous for exploring the social implications of technology, including the thing that's come about where humans jockey to receive higher ratings from their peers. The 5th season of the show is expected to start in December, and Netflix is making a big bet on interactive TV, and it's been promised to us for decades. So now what they're doing is they're blending the elements of video games with traditional television to create a formula that is going to be able to apply to a bunch of different series. So they've released a handful of episodes of Choose Your Own Adventure animated shows for children. And within the first couple minutes of Puss in Book, the viewer must choose whether the pugilistic feline fights a god or a tree. After watching one version, the viewer can go back and see how it would have ended if they took an alternate scenario. So maybe we can do that with Black Mirror. And Netflix is also about to release a new animated series based on Minecraft. Telltale Games, the company that was working with Netflix on the show, recently laid off most of its staff, but the show, based on one of the world's most popular video games, is mostly finished and will be released this year. Former journalist Charlie Brooker created Black Mirror in 2011 for British TV Channel 4, and he oversaw the seasons alongside someone named Annabelle Jones. And then Netflix came into the picture in 2015, getting the rights to past episodes and the rights to release future seasons. So producers of interactive TV are hoping Netflix growing investments a sign that their time in the spotlight is approaching. And HBO also released its first interactive TV show earlier this year. It was directed by Steven Soderbergh, and it's the longer version of Mosaic, and it was available in a separate app. So that's not quite the same as seeing it on TV. But while many viewers voted for candidates in reality shows like American Idol and The Voice, no narrative TV show has actually asked viewers to become engaged in the outcome, and that's going to change. Jim Spare, the chief operating officer of Echo, which is a company that's about to come into the light, produces interactive shows, and he says the widespread availability of high-speed internet, the prevalence of touchscreens and interactive games have all laid the groundwork, and for shows that ask viewers to engage, he says, and he's right, the time is right for interactive TV to become a mainstream experience. Personally, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm curious about how this will play out. I'm a little bit skeptical. I think television, people are acclimated to sit down and absorb television, just consume it and not be interactive with it. So I'm curious to see how it'll play out. It is taking the video game format, which is more natural in video games. There's a video game called LA Noire that was produced by Rockstar Games, which produced Grand Theft Auto. And in it, you are the character of a detective in the 30s in Hollywood, and you have to find out information from suspects and stuff. And the way that you find out is either you threaten them, you're a bully, or you're a detective and you ask them questions and quiz them. And the story unfolds differently depending upon how you act, right?
But it's a video game.
It's a video game. It's more natural. I think this interactive entertainment is more natural in a video game than it is in television. So we'll see. I mean,
people are used to voting in The Voice, and they're used to voting in their shows where you vote. And also, like, they take surveys on the news sometimes on Good Morning America, on Today, that, you know, to ask people what they think, and then there's built-in buttons on your cable thingy. What is that thing called? it has buttons.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you got, Dave?
So speaking of television and streaming services, this is a CNBC story from Michelle Castillo and Alex Sherman, who report that Amazon is expected to announce this week that they will have a free ad-supported video streaming service for Amazon Fire TV users via IMDb, Internet Movie Database. So it'll be actually a streaming product of Internet Movie Database. The new service will be similar to the Roku channel or Hulu. It will feature TV shows and movies. It'll be available to all Fire TV users, not just Amazon Prime Video users. So the move could help Amazon capture some of that lucrative TV advertising market, which is expected to generate almost $70 billion in revenue this year. Advertising budgets for over-the-top services like these streaming services are only $7 billion, but it is a market that's growing rapidly. So the service will also help Amazon continue to grow its share of the digital ad market. Amazon is now the third largest digital advertiser with about 4% of the market compared to Google and Facebook, which combined have 57%. But with Amazon will allow marketers to access its proprietary data to help target video advertising on the service. Combine that with third-party data and everything that Amazon knows about everybody's purchase behavior. They've got data that nobody else does. So the targeting should be very interesting, but we'll see how this plays out. Another product from Amazon.
I'm going out of my way these days to buy something not from Amazon if I have the opportunity to do it, because Amazon is taking over the world. I'm not liking it.
I love Amazon. The other thing that people need to know about Amazon is The Man in the High Castle just launched. The new season, The Man in the High Castle.
It's back. It's back. Yes. Yeah, so, that's cool. Yeah. So, when it comes to people who've left Google, most of them just go off and become venture capitalists. But this is from a Medium newsletter story. And so this is by Jessica Powell. And I read about it in the Times by Farhad Manju. So Jessica Powell is the former head of PR at Google, and she left there, and she's written a satirical novel called The Big Disruption, offering, quote, a totally fictional but essentially true Silicon Valley story. What's so interesting about this is it's only available on Medium, and it is Medium's first published novel, and it offers a complete send-up of the tech industry. I haven't finished it, but what I've read so far is hilarious, and it's an incisive look at how many of the big tech companies dysfunction, their free lunches and their meditation rooms and their in-office happy hours. All these perks are meant to keep you working for as long and as hard as possible for, the founders of the company. So she's written it in a very funny way, and it's worth a read, and it's free, and it's on Medium.
Maybe that's a sequel to Silicon Valley.
Could be, who knows? But I mean, having a sense of humor is rare in these kinds of missives.
So no transition to that, but interesting news from Adweek's David Cohn reports that first there were snap codes, then Facebook copied them, as Facebook is wont to do, with messenger codes, and now Instagram is copying Facebook with Instagram name tags. So this is a customizable identification card that people can scan so that you can easily follow somebody on Instagram rather than having to type it in. And it's available globally on iOS and Android. So you tap the hamburger icon up in the corner, choose name tag, and you're good to go. You can create your own name tag and scan others.
I just learned this week that those little lines at the upper left of the website are called a hamburger, and I can't imagine why.
Because they look like a hamburger.
Maybe because I don't eat meat. I don't know. So this also no transition, and this comes from a press release that I got. But this is about a city that is the second largest city in France to host the most classified monuments. Bordeaux is one of the must-see tourist destinations in France, and it has a water mirror. And in it is reflected the Place de Bourse and the city docks, and their water mirror is the largest in the world. So they have signs painted on buildings, and they're painted backwards to you if you're looking at the building, but they reflect in the correct way. So the place is appreciated because of its immensity and its fountains, and it has this mysterious fog. With 30 destinations in Bordeaux, this company called EasyJet decided to recall its promise of escape by playing with the urban landscape of the city. So any immense outdoor canvas installed on the Place de Bourse, excuse my French, is illegible, as I said, because it's backwards, but it suddenly makes sense to you when you look in the mirror. And so they put up a billboard that is huge, and it's essentially an invitation to travel. So what they're going to do now is they've launched a contest on their social networks. To mark the beginning of the contest, internet users are invited to take a photo and share the canvas with the hashtag upside down. And whoever they decide takes the most beautiful upside down picture in a reflection is going to win a trip for two to the destination of their choice via this company. So, I'm one of those people who likes to take pictures in puddles because they're so cool looking. So, I've seen some gorgeous ones, and I might even enter.
Photo contests are always great. They're one of the easiest ways to get interaction from people, because everybody's got a phone, and some people are really talented at it. So you get some good stuff out of it. This is an interesting development from Digiday's Carrie Flynn is reporting that Facebook is rolling out across access to a pixel for Facebook groups. So it will allow marketers to track users' behavior after clicking on posts from a group. Facebook launched Group Insights last year, and that helps admins see metrics regarding the growth, activity, and membership of their groups. The company is now expanding the Group Insights to let their admins and brands link their groups with their existing Facebook ads pixel, and that allows you to understand how members and groups engage with their websites. The data from the pixel will show up on Group Insights page and be visible to group administrators. Facebook is limiting access to only groups with 250 or more members, but groups really have replaced pages in terms of interaction. That's where you really get interaction and engagement among members on Facebook, and so this seems like logical extension and a way to target group members in advertising as well. So,
Dave, what's a pixel?
A pixel is the way that you track. So, a pixel is a image that you put on your website, and it allows you to retarget people after they visited your website, for example. So when you visit an e-commerce website and you start seeing ads for the shoes that you looked at on that site all over the web, that's a pixel retargeting you.
So that's part of programmatic advertising?
Yeah, it's part of retargeting.
So I have no more good news.
All right, I have one more, and it could be in bad or good depending upon your point of view. This is from MIT Technology Review, who report about Andre, I think is the person's name, Stocco, who in 2014, he and his colleagues at the University of Washington in Seattle used EEGs and transcranial magnetic stimulation to connect two people via a brain-to-brain interface. And so it allowed these two people to play a 20-question type game just using brain-to-brain thought transfer, basically. Now, Stocco and his colleagues have figured out how to connect a group with brains-to-brains interface. It's the world's first brain-to-brain network. It's called BrainNet, of course, and allows a small group to play a collaborative Tetris-like game and collaborate on how to achieve success in the game. So the quote from the article is, "Our results raise the possibility of future brain-to-brain interfaces that enable cooperative problem solving by humans using a social network quote unquote, of connected brains. I will have a link to the show notes to explain the details of how this works, but fascinating development right there.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I did something, I had a client a long time ago who was a shrink who was treating kids with ADHD with brainwaves, teaching you how to put yourself in, I forget if it was a beta or a theta or what state it puts you in, but athletes do this computer game for peak performance. And what you did, you put on all these sensors on your head, and then you used your brain basically to pay your brain waves. You made them work to play Pac-Man. And then you also made them work to put a line down the center of a road. And it took your total concentration, but you learned by repeatedly doing it, how to put yourself in that state. So I totally believe that this can happen on a much larger scale.
Yeah, it's essentially the same technology. It's just it harnessing the electrical activity of your brain to basically pass that electrical output as thoughts through through wires. Again, the technicalities of the of how it works are in the article, so anybody who's interested should go to the show notes at beyondsocialmediashow.com/243.
So that brings us to bad news.
It does indeed.
It's not bad news and worse news. The Facebook hack has grown. More than 50 million accounts were hacked, and maybe you were one of them. And if you ever used Facebook to log into other sites, you should consider changing your passwords on every single one of those sites. This is from a New York Times story by Mike Isaac and Kate Conger. And the Times says companies that allow customers to log in with Facebook Connect are now scrambling to figure out whether their own user accounts have been compromised. What Facebook has yet to do is provide a list of users who were affected by the hack. They locked some people out, made them come back in, but you don't really know how far this went. And, Facebook is a company that's made of apologies. If you just went back and counted the number of times Facebook apologized, it would probably rival the number of times that Trump lies. And so they sold outside companies on Facebook Connect with this simple proposition that you connect to our outlet and we'll make it faster and easier for people to use your apps. So in a blog post this Tuesday night, Facebook said the investigation has so far found no evidence that the hackers accessed any apps using Facebook login. Hackers usually go to large databases to get credentials because those can provide access to other accounts if you created the same password for multiple sites, which a lot of people do, or if you logged into third-party sites with your Facebook account. So since Friday, Facebook has held calls with developers at other companies to explain the steps that they're taking to assess the damage. Facebook says we're building a tool to enable developers to manually identify the users of their apps who may have been affected so they can log them out. And the last line was, security is tremendous and incredibly important to Facebook. Uh-huh.
Yeah, demonstrated all the time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unreal.
Yeah.
And I think Facebook has maybe apologized one too many times now.
This is an absolutely horrible story. It's on the Next Web's Kara Curtis reports about it. We have talked in the past about how fake news is going to get really weird.
I read this story. It's awful.
Due to the technology of facial mapping. And with a simple webcam and software, you can actually record somebody's facial expressions and make them say whatever you want to. And in the past episode, we talked about how they did it with George Bush and Barack Obama, made them say whatever they wanted to. Well, this is a different example of that. This is called deep fake technology, is what they're calling it. And it has become readily accessible and easily accessible through an app, fake app, through affordable consumer grade equipment. just mapping different faces onto other bodies and stuff. And that is why earlier this year, the web was flooded with pornographic films of high-profile female celebrities. But now there are tons of women's likenesses put on non-consensually in sexually or pornographic videos. And this happened to a woman, a 24-year-old named Noelle Martin, who was cited in the article and used as the illustration of this problem and her battle with deepfake pornography, which started 6 years ago. Some anonymous predators stole non-sexual images of her from her social accounts and posted them onto porn sites, and with threads that were accompanied with by invasive and graphic commentary about her body. And you can just imagine, right? She fought back. And through her advocacy, she has helped pass tougher legislation in her home country of Australia regarding these. She's done a TED Talk. She's actually her whole story is very inspiring, and her fighting back through that battle is very inspiring. We'll put a link to her TED Talk, embed her TED Talk in the show notes. But horrible, horrible development. What kind of people do this crap? I mean, it's awful.
You wonder what kind of people do a lot of the things that you read about. But anyway, I've had, in a past life, I ran a company called Rent-A-Kvetch. So I'm pretty good at complaining, because I used to do it for other people for money. And yet I was flummoxed this week by MoviePass. I have, from the start, had a $9.95 a month unlimited movie ability with my MoviePass. Then MoviePass, I don't know, during the summer they said now you can only go see, I think it was 3 movies a month, and you can't go see them when they just opened. And if you go and see them at peak times, you have to pay more money. I just ignored all that. And then they said, I don't know, they keep saying different things. So the other day I got an email that said, your $7.95 a month account was canceled, but we reinstated it. Now you will have whatever it said. And I was like, and it said, if you don't opt out, we'll reinstate your $7.90. So I clicked on the link because I wanted to see what the hell they were talking about. And they said, you've now opted out of MoviePass, and you can't have an account for 9 months. So I opened up a request for an answer, and I said, I didn't mean to opt out of this. What the hell? And then I went on the app, and lo and behold, somebody actually answered me on the app, and they looked into it, and they said, oh no, you still have the $9.95 a month. Don't worry. And then I got an email saying, as of October 5th, you will be enrolled in the $9.95 a month thing that gives you 3 movies a week. So I said, no, I don't want 3 movies a week. I want all my movies. And then I got another email that said that now I have all the movies. And then they pinged me on my phone and they said, are you all set? Because I was tweeting about this and how stupid it was. And so now I'm back to where I started. I mean, it's insane. How this company is in business at all is beyond me. So, to be continued. But here's what they said. We received your confirmation of your new MoviePass plan. Some exciting updates are coming on the first day of your next billing cycle. Your new membership will include up to 3 standard movies a month for $9.95, and you will also be eligible for $2 to $5 off any additional movie tickets, blah, blah, blah. We're suspending ticket verification and peak pricing. Read more of these exciting updates at this link. I was afraid to click on any links. We're excited to have you on this journey. Your endless support, understanding, and enthusiasm are greatly appreciated. If you had previously, this is the best part, if you had previously requested cancellation prior to opting out, your opt-in to the new plan will take priority and your account will not be canceled. In other words, if you opted out, they're freaking opting you back in without asking you if you wanted that. I mean, who does that?
Oh.
That's incredible, isn't it? So I don't know. I'm going to try and go to the movies and see what happens.
Right.
So speaking of are we on to shiny objects?
Yeah, we are.
Speaking of hacks, Firefox, which is such a great browser, the way they've updated it and everything, they have something called Firefox Monitor. You put in your email and it tells you whether your email has been stolen or breached. And it also does not store your email address. And
I was
then,
just going to say, until somebody steals their hacks into them.
yeah, well, that could happen, but it's not likely. You know, I think they've got it pretty locked up. But anyway, it works, and I looked at it all, and yeah, of course, everybody's been breached, but I'm good now.
Speaking of email, this is a cool little tool I found from the media post Ray Schultz. It's called Subject Line, subjectline.com. It's provided by World Data, and it is a subject line testing tool. So it's designed to help marketers improve their open rates. It's free. It's based on analysis of over 5 billion email messages and applies over 900 rules through the testing process. So you type in your subject line that you want to test, and it spits out a result point-based. So I tried one. I got a score of 43 out of 100, so not so good. Some of the things it said, mobile subject line is over 35 characters, so I got 12 points knocked off for that. Length is over 50 characters, 15 points. Use of word in all caps, so you're not supposed to use all caps. It was SEO. Points knocked off for that. Contains any word that has more than 8 characters, which is kind of weird. Does not contain a sense of urgency. No, it didn't. But that wasn't my objective. So it is a cool little tool to kind of give you a check. You know, in all cases, your results will vary. It depends on what you're trying to do. So don't take it as gold, but it's a good check. So there you go.
Well, that's kind of like Hemingway. You know, sometimes I disagree entirely with their suggestions, but sometimes they make good ones. So you have to ultimately have your own style, but a tool like that can help you.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I came upon is this company Echo, which has Echo Studio, EKO, and they're the company that's working on the interactive Netflix episode of Black Mirror, and they have a very powerful and free web-based authoring tool where you can make interactive live action stories. I've played a little bit with it, but it's kind of easy to use and not that big a learning curve. And you can customize it if you know a little bit of code like Dave. And even if you don't, it's pretty simple to translate your idea into something you can share. So kind of fun.
Yeah, cool. Wow. Let's try that out.
Yeah. So I have another one.
Yes.
Okay. It's a new app funded by Bill Gates, and it's called Likewise. And you know, Bill Gates is busy trying to save the world, and while he's busy trying to save the world, he's also funding things that are pretty interesting. So I'll put a link to it. It's a new way of looking at some of the things we do every day. And you know, I was just impressed that it was something Bill Gates had backed. I didn't know that he was doing things like that in tech.
So what does it do exactly?
Well, I can't tell you that.
What? You can't put it in the notes without telling us.
I know. I forgot to do it. I'll put it in the description. Bad me. That was bad.
So I've got well, it's not a project so much as a blog post that is a resource for people. So every month I do a roundup of the marketing reports and surveys and polls that I find and compile them into one big blog post. So I've got one with 74 marketing reports from last month, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And one of them I'm going to cite for the daily numbers. So if we're ready to do that, let's.
So let me ask you a question. What trends did you see, if any, in those reports?
Well, there were 74 of them, so I can't think of any off the top of my head, except for one, which is I'm about to cite right here.
Okay, you go right ahead.
So this is the percent of marketing budgets devoted to search engine optimization. This is from a Zazzle Media survey of 30,000 marketers. 28% of their budgets are devoted to SEO. which is find surprisingly large. I would be interested to find out, and I'll have to look at the Zazzle to see if it's in there, whether that's included in content marketing or if that's considered content marketing, because sometimes they're commingled. The other one is, despite the rise of voice search, only 24% of the marketers surveyed said it is part of their SEO strategy this year. So that probably should start getting some funding for voice search, if only to experiment and find out how to take advantage of it, because it will be in everybody's future. So there we go.
I'm surprised it was that high, actually. You know, it just seems like everybody waits until like they really got to do it before. Very few people do it just because they should. So that brings us to the end of episode 243 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And you will find links to everything we covered in this show at beyondsocialmediashow.com/243. And we will also have a replay of the video. And you will find David Erickson on Twitter as @DErickson. You'll find him on Instagram at DE Erickson, and he blogs at estrategyblog.com. I am BL Ochman. I'm on Twitter as @What'sNext. I blog at What's Next blog. I'm on YouTube as What's Next blog, and I have a website, blochman.com. The show is, as we've told you a few times, beyondsocialmediashow.com. Go there. We're on YouTube, of course, and we're on Twitter as BS Media Show. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. iHeartRadio. And you can also tell Alexa to play Beyond Social Media Show. And so that brings us to the end, and we'll be back next week, same bat channel, same time.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, bye.